For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have PB Flower ma'am with us, and she is the author of All Call None Trilogy and Yama Eco Maya. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. It is my honor to be able to host you today.
Thank you, Gaurav. I'm very excited to be here with you today as well.
Likewise, ma'am. So, ma'am, before we get into the podcast and know much more about your book, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you, and please let us know how you started this writing journey of yours.
Yeah, sure. I am PB Flower, which is actually my pen name. That's how I decided to go by, just to give it a good thing, But my actual name is my actual name is actually Suman Pandey.
Okay.
And why I started writing, it was just a random thing that just happened to me, and it just like it happens to any reader. They become a writer because they wanted to read something that hasn't been written. So that's why I became a writer.
Okay. That seems to be interesting, and that seems to be you're one of those people who doesn't choose writing. Writing has chosen you. So that's really glad, And ma'am, as we know that the books are released, all the 3 trilogies and the Yama Eco Maya is also released, and they're performing really well on Amazon, I must say. But if talking from a new reader's perspective, there must be a lot of people who have already read them, but there must be some sort of people who will try to explore after listening to this podcast. So for those kind of new readers, what they can expect from these books, can you share some insights with us?
Yeah, sure. My books are a little different, and I'm actually very proud of picking up a subject where I know that I can't maybe find many audience, but then I could build new audience for it, because this kind of genre I haven't seen there, the mix of the genre. I write sci-fi romantic with a lot of metaphysical philosophies in it, which the 2 subjects in itself are very different from each other, but I have tried to blend them together. And so if anyone is wanting to take a new perspective on the world around us or the creation itself, and also keep their scientific view, they should be the one reading my books. And of course, I have included romance in it to keep it interesting and maybe to reach out to wider audience.
So, ma'am, you could have written something else, right? I guess the trilogy is your debut books, or the Yama Eco Maya?
Yes. The trilogy is my debut work. Yes, the trilogy is my debut work. And it's only because I started writing during COVID days. And when I started, I just couldn't stop. And it ended up to be a trilogy. I did not intended it to be, but that's just how it ended up to be. And Yama Eco Maya is actually an offshoot of this series, but it is a standalone. It can be read on its own. You don't need to read All Call None, although I would want you to, but it is a standalone. Yeah.
So, ma'am, what I personally feel we have been on the show with more than 100+ authors. So what I personally feel, ma'am, that there are very rare kind of authors who just try to explore, try to experiment new things as their debut book. So that's first of all, shows ki, okay, in the risk taking appetite is very much higher in your case, what I personally felt. And the category, the trilogy thing which you have talked about, what my question is that you could have written something else, like just something which appeal the masses, or which most of the people like, or you want to just push your name in the market, something like that. But you have written something which is completely offbeat, like it takes a lot of courage to basically try these kind of genre, beside that knowing ki, okay, not many people are gonna completely love these things or something like that. So what was your inspiration behind this, like okay, no, I have to write because of this, or something like that? Like, hope you are getting my point.
Yes. I mean, the thing is that it's all about building your brand. And I know what you just said, that it could have been easier for me to pick up just specifically romance genre and just go with it. And it would have been easier to appeal to masses with that. But that was not what I was intending to do. I want to keep my uniqueness. And it is also that it's a mix of me and my inspiration, which is my husband. And I am a very romantic person. I love to read romance books. But then when I met my husband, he was totally different from me. He has all these weird theories, metaphysical theories, of course. And he is a big fan of UG Krishnamurti, which I don't know if many people know, but he also has a very different understanding of the world around. He's no more in this world, but and so I liked to get that different perspective about things. I wanted to understand that more. I wasn't closed off. Like, I'm not one of those firm believers that, okay, science, whatever science has to say is what it is. I was open to other perspective, and that's why I was able to draw the inspiration from my husband and write this unique mix of genre that I have come up with.
Okay. So ma'am, like in future we can expect like more such books from you, or you want to experiment on some other genres a bit as well? Like, what's upcoming, what's in the pipeline as of now?
Yeah, I'm actually writing my fifth book right now, and I have decided to stick to my genre, to stick to my writing style. And maybe it might take time to reach out to people and find my kind of people, but I am going to keep trying, and I will stick to this. I'm not going to sway or move on to other genres as of now.
Okay. So ma'am, like in most of the cases, like authors basically are working on a certain kind of genre, they want to build their personal brand, as in that readers get the sudden impact. Okay, if it's a book by, let's say, if it's a book by X author, then इस book में ये चीज मिलेगी, like I will get these kind of things from this book, a certain impact, a sudden for the first thought they want to create on their readers mind. Okay, I want to be known as this kind of author, this I write in these genres as well. So when it comes to personal branding, and when it comes to your, like if you have to say, okay, I want to be known as these kind of authors, or I want to create that kind of impact on my authors or my readers mind, so what it would be like, when it comes to your personal branding, how you want to be known as in the mind of your readers?
Yeah, of course. I want to be known as a sci-fi romantic metaphysical author. That's the genre I want to stick to. And it was only because I was yet to see this kind of combination. There are so many philosophical kind of books, but they are just so boring to the general public,
So true.
And so I have tried to mix in romance with it. It's still the same philosophies, but it is an interesting conversation between two people who are in love. And so if you read it from that perspective, and you have a backdrop of science fiction with it, it just makes it more interesting. So that's the kind of brand I'm trying to build, and I'm glad that I have found my niche, even though in terms of audience, like I said, I may be limiting myself, but I would still continue with my distinctive style.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, like what I personally feel that I hope you must be agreeing to this thing that after the first lockdown was over, the numbers of author gets increased very rapidly. Like there were kind of boom in this book industry. What I felt, and the reason can be various because people were completely logged in for around a couple of months or more, even more than that in some areas. So they try to document their life or something like that. In fact, the publishing has become much more easier as it was used to be. Kindle publication has been introduced, and lots of literary agents, publication houses, everything is there. So when it comes to thinking as the author's perspective, like more of the authors or readers will be listening to this podcast, so we want to know that from an author's perspective, if we can see that, how do you feel about this industry? Like what sort of competition do you feel in this industry? A sort of you can say a neck to neck competition, standing out has become quite difficult as it was used to be earlier, or you're someone who feels that there is no competition and it's a completely, what we say, creativity field, so there's no competition, everyone is having individual in their field. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, sure. I think life in general is competitive. That's just how we are. And you are right that, okay, because of the lockdown, many people were free to write and, hone into their creativity because of the time that they had at their hands. And I mean, I think, like I said, the competition is there everywhere. It's just, I think, the way I see it, that it is an opportunity to reach out to people without an additional layer of conventional publishing, because they follow a process which is tedious and time consuming. And with online independent publishing, your work can be available easily and consumed easily as well. Of course, that gives way to another layer, which is marketing, because now that there are so many people that have this avenue readily available to them, you need a good marketing on your site, because there are so many others out there. So it is important to create a brand and stick to it, like I have done. And I strongly believe that if there are writers in abundance, so are the readers. So we just need to know how to reach out to them.
Okay. So as of now, ma'am, do you have any particular writing schedule? Like do you fix some particular slots every day for your writing, or it's just like random? Like most of the time it happens with me as well, ki sometime I get some thought, I just jot it down on my phone, on my diary, and after some time, when I get time, I just elaborate them or write upon that. How does it goes with you?
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, I'm that way too, and I think every author is that way, that ideas just pop in anytime. So what I do is most of the time I have my phone with me, so I just would either email myself the ideas or put it in my OneNote immediately. But otherwise, I do follow a schedule. Because I am a full-time writer. So I'm pretty disciplined that way. Each morning I walk into my study with a large cup of coffee, and then I start writing. I do take breaks in between to take care of my motherly and wifey duties. But for the most part, I dedicate weekdays to writing at least 6 hours a day.
Oh, okay. That's quite okay. So, ma'am, like we have talked about your books, about your journey, about your vision, about your personal branding and everything. Now, coming to your personal life, like, there must be a lot of moments which you tag as the happiest moment of life. But if you can share any one of them with us, then that would be really great.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. And I think it's because, when you are living in the moment, you most of the time don't realize that is, or it is the happiest moment or the happiest one so far. It's only when you look back that you can tell that, oh, that was the moment. And for me, I would have to say it was when I met my husband. And at the time, I didn't realize that. But now, years later, in retrospect, I do feel that was the happiest moment of my life when I met him, and my life changed. Yeah.
So, ma'am, there must be some ups and downs as well in your life. Like in everybody's life, there's lots of ups and downs. So, when it comes to the happiest moment, or the moments which we want to cherish, how do you celebrate them? Or there's one more question in this, and it's a subcategory, that how do you get rid of your tough times in life, like when you're low and all these things, how do you deal with them?
Yeah, I think, like I said, that after I met my husband, my perspective in life has changed a lot. And I don't take, whenever I face a hurdle or there are problems that are coming my way, which is there in everybody's life, actually. I'm not the only one. So I have learned to understand that it's just experiences. These are just events that are happening in your life, and I have stopped giving too much attention to them, anything that's happening bad in my life, because I feel that if I try and do something about it, that is interfering with the destiny, because whatever is happening for a reason. And maybe it is asking me to make a change. And so I don't try to resist anything that is happening in my life. And it is easier said than done. But once you start taking it into stride, I think you can do it too, or everybody can do it too.
So, ma'am, I assume that you must be sorry, I have my next question to this podcast is, ma'am, do you feel stressed while releasing of your book? If we talk about the time when your first book was about to release, like let's say tomorrow your book was about to release, then today Eve, what was your feeling? Like, were you feeling stressed, relaxed, or excited? What was your mental state at that time?
Yeah, I was actually not stressed out at all. I rarely stressed out over things. My approach is, once again, give your best and don't try to worry about the rest. And it's kind of like something from Mahabharata, if you know, or Gita, actually. Gita is from Gita, the holy book, that, कर्म किए जा फल की चिंता मत करो, something like that, so that's what I believe in, that and I wasn't stressed when I was releasing my book, actually. My husband was a little bit jittery. He was like, are you sure, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I have written it. I'm going to publish it. So because he's very detail oriented, and I'm not. I guess I'm very I just want to get things done. If I'm done, I just want to get it done. So I wasn't nervous or stressed out. And now that I have released a trilogy and I have released another standalone, I think I'm very comfortable about the release process.
Okay. So you have become much more experienced, and you're now, thinking the other perspective about marketing and everything else.
Yes.
Okay. As of now, ma'am, if you can say or share with us, like, what's your current mental state as a person, as an author? What are the things which you're focusing upon in life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to be able to do what comes naturally to me, which is writing. So being an author has been very satisfying, which in turn has helped me become a better person. As I have come to understand life from a different perspective, like I said before, and I have stopped weighing things on the right and wrong scale, because it is all an opinion in the end, and whatever is the general consensus is considered right. It is not absolute. It's just that more than 50% of the people feel that it is right. So my mental state is just fine. I mean, I know I could be in the 40% of the people who think that I am right, but then the rest think I'm wrong. So I just feel that it's all an opinion. So it's okay. I mean, you feel that way, I feel this way. I'm just not going to go and debate about it or riot over it, but I have a right to have my own opinion. So I'm cool.
In fact, ma'am, what I personally feel in this topic that, from last couple of years, I have also, adopted these things. Okay, it's just a matter of perspective. And what I feel for people that, if most of the people can get to know about these thoughts, that, okay, it's completely, okay to disagree to some people, or, accept their different opinions in their life. So after, doing all these things, life becomes so much easier. Like, your mental peace doesn't get disturbed by, every small things in life. And that's completely what I would suggest to all the listeners to practice, that, it's okay to have different perspective, and we don't have to argue about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, ma'am, my last question to you of this podcast is, like, after listening to this podcast, many people will start writing, or, they will be holding their first draft in their laptop, in their notebook, or wherever they are, and they have written them. So what would be your advice for the upcoming authors, if you can give any one of them?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that please hang on to your creativity. It may be hard to make your place, but it is the honest thing to do. You might get discouraged or demoralized, but just hang in there, and don't change for anyone, because that happened to me when I gave my first draft to a beta reader, and he gave me a really, really bad review. And so I was like, but then I was like, okay, that's fine. That's his perspective, but I'm going to hang on to whatever I have written. That's my style, and I'll hang on to it. And so I want to quote something from my series, All Kaal None. And it says, anything in this creation is of this creation, and hence deserving of everything in this creation.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely conversation with PB Flower, ma'am. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. You can just search on Amazon PB Flower. You will get all the 4 books which ma'am have written. And just go buy them, read them, and share with your friends and family as well. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. It was my honor to host you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gaurav.
You're welcome, ma'am.